Hello everyone, I'm Isan. In this video, we'll review Samsung Galaxy M51. The Samsung Galaxy M51 is the latest Samsung smartphone which comes with a pretty large battery. Battery comes with 7000 mAh battery and you can use this smartphone to charge other smartphones as well. You can use the provided cable on the box and you can use the smartphone as a power bank for other smartphones. The provided cable is Type-C to Type-C and it's already inside the box on sales package. Apart from that, there are also many other interesting features of this smartphone which we will discuss one by one in this video review. First, let's take a look at the screen of this smartphone. The screen of this smartphone uses Super AMOLED Plus display. The Super AMOLED Plus screen is slightly different from the usual Super AMOLED display. The difference is on the thickness of the screen. By using this type of Super AMOLED Plus screen, Samsung can make the smartphone even slimmer than using the usual Samsung Super AMOLED. So here, of course, it really helps make the size of the Samsung M51 look even slimmer than before, even with 7000 mAh battery. The screen resolution is 1080 by 24000 pixel with ratio 20:9. It is quite clear and vibrant. You can immediately use this smartphone for social media or watching YouTube because the screen is pretty wide and the colors looks pretty clear. The pixel density is 393 ppi and the screen protection uses Corning Gorilla Glass 3. For the screen response is quite responsive and you can use it to play games like Real Drum pretty smoothly. You don't even feel there is any touch delay, which means you can pretty much enjoy playing games on this smartphone. Then for build quality and design, this smartphone is a little thick 9.5mm and the dimension is 163.9mm height and 76.3mm width. The back design is slightly curved and quite comfortable in hand. The front display is also slightly curved on its sides. So for those of you who use full screen gestures, of course you will quite comfortable using this smartphone. You can easily swipe from edge of the screen to go back from application. The weight of this smartphone is 213 grams and it does feel a little heavier than a smartphone in general which has 4000 or 5000 mAh battery. However, if you remember that the smartphone has 7000 mAh battery, the weight is still quite reasonable. We didn't even think that the smartphone had 7000 mAh battery with this design. The frame and back cover of the Samsung M51 smartphone use plastic material. However, even though using plastic material, it seems that the design and build quality is pretty solid. The frame design on the rear camera looks quite similar to A51 and A71. However, on this M51 series, the camera bump looks quite thin and it almost feels like there is no camera bump at all. So the camera frame looks quite integrated with the back case. For the SIM tray, there has already a dedicated microSD card slot, so you can use it for dual SIM and microSD card simultaneously. The volume button position is on the right and the power button is also on the right. For the power button, it is combined with the fingerprint on this M51 series. The fingerprint speed when unlocking is quite fast, and if you want it to be faster, you can try our tips on the previous video. You can check our previous video which discussed about the tips on how to make your fingerprint to be faster and more accurate. At the top there is a microphone hole and at the bottom there is a 3.5mm audio jack, USB Type-C port, microphone and also a speaker. The speaker on this M51 series is still mono and here is the sample sound of this speaker. Next, let's check out the performance of this Samsung M51. The Samsung M51 uses a Snapdragon 730 processor with Adreno 618. This chipset is commonly used in mid-range series. For internal use in the default system is around 18.5GB. It means that if you have 128GB, the rest is probably around 109GB. So for the empty internal, you get 109.6GB from the default 128GB. Playing games with SoC Snapdragon 730, of course you can use maximum settings. In the PUBG mobile game, we can only play games at Smooth Ultra or at maximum HD high settings. So you can't play PUBG mobile with extreme smooth setting on this smartphone. However, if you don't mind that the gameplay can be to maximum, You can also play the game quite comfortable on this smartphone. Another advantage is that you can play games with longer duration with medium graphics and 7000 mAh battery on this smartphone. When the 7000 mAh battery is low, you can immediately use fast charging up to 25 watts. Additionally, you can also use this smartphone to charge other smartphones. You just need to use the USB Type-C to Type-C cable that is available inside the box and plug it in immediately to charge another smartphone. After you connect the cable, the smartphone will immediately charge other smartphone automatically. There are no additional settings that you have to set to use this feature. For the connectivity on this smartphone, it already uses the latest Bluetooth 5.0, and for Wi-Fi it supports up to Wi-Fi 5. The 4G connection supports LTE connection. For the default operating system, Samsung M51 uses Android 10 with One UI Core version. The One UI Core is version 2.1. This One UI Core version might be a bit of a deal breaker for you because there are several features that are not available in this version of One UI Core if you compare with the standard One UI version. However, maybe the advantage is that it can save more power. For the difference between One UI and One UI Core, you can check out the previous video here. On that video, we have discussed some of differences that we find in the regular One UI and One UI Core version. For the sensor on this smartphone, almost every sensor is available on this smartphone, excluding the temperature and pressure sensor. There are 4 lenses on the rear camera of this smartphone. There is 64 megapixel for the main lens with f1.8. The second camera is 12 megapixel, which is ultra-wide camera with f2.2. Another 2 cameras come with 5 megapixel with f2.4 for macro lens and depth sensor. The 5 megapixel macro lens is already pretty good because if 2 megapixel is still too small. The front camera comes with 32 megapixel with f2.0. You can use the front and rear cameras to record videos up to 4K 30 frames per second. On the camera application, there is a single tick feature. Then in the more menu section, there are also Pro, Panorama for photos, Food, Night mode, Macro, Live focus, Slow motion, Super slow motion, and also Hyperlapse. Unfortunately, the Pro video is not yet available on this M51 series. Here are some sample photos taken with the Samsung M51 smartphone. So the plus side of this Samsung M51 smartphone is the 7000 mAh battery, and also you can use the smartphone to charge other smartphone with Type-C to Type-C cable. The screen is vibrant and sharp with Super AMOLED Plus display. Then the performance is fast and smooth enough for the mid-range series. The form factor also doesn't look that big considering the battery is 7000 mAh battery on this smartphone. But the downside is Samsung M51 still uses One UI Core version, so its feature is not fully available like on the standard One UI version. If you feel that there are features that you need and are not available in One UI Core, maybe this could be a bit of problem for you. Another weakness is that this smartphone feels a little bit heavy when compared to other smartphones with 4000 and 5000 mAh battery. Then the circle for the front camera still feels quite big when we compare it to the A51 series. And maybe the last one that can be a deal breaker for you is the speakers that are not stereo. However, this is pretty much acceptable considering this is a mid-range series. If you like the videos like this, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel and also click on bell notification icon. If you have questions or comments, you can immediately write them in the comment section down below, or you can also ask directly on our Telegram group at the following link. You can also find the link in the description of this video. You can also ask directly on our Instagram DM at Santertainment. See you on the next video.